Good people. Hello, everybody. Hi, good people. Guess who's back, back again. Hey, guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guys, Attorney Fuller in the building. Yes. How's everybody doing? Today we have this great topic, and that's just I think I just wanted to kind of discuss shortly, briefly. Of course, I can't give you everything, but I just want to discuss like the difference between adjustment of status through marriage and VAWA because clients ask me that question all the time. So especially clients who qualify for both. Some clients come and ask me simply, should I do adjustment of status through marriage? Like, should I let my spouse file for me, or should I let should it be like, should my spouse be the one, I mean, or should I petition for myself through VAWA? So that's usually a very common question that I get asked all the time, like, should I petition for myself, or um should I let my spouse petition for me? And so, like, what's the difference? What are the advantages or disadvantages? All right. And so, yeah, depending on the situation, depending on the person, there may be some advantages. For one person, getting a green card through their spouse may be better. For another person, getting a green card through VAW may be better. To each his own, and then it depends on the specific facts. But just side by side, long story short, let me just quickly give it to you also. And now be a great time to share this video, guys. If you know someone who needs help or may need my help, now be a great time to share this video before I start really getting into the definitions and discussing the differences between adjustment of status to marriage and VAWA. Okay, so, but of course, as you already know, let's just start here. As you already pretty much know, and so in other words, give me just about 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, y'all, and I'll give this short lecture of the differences, and I'll give a comparison between the two, whether to get a green card through VAWA or whether to get a green card through adjustment of status. What are the benefits, ups and downs? I'm going to give this 5 minute lecture, and then after that, I'll take live questions. So I see all the people trying to come live. If you want to ask a question, tell your homie. Your homie's a homie. If they have a question they want to ask an immigration lawyer for free, now will be the time. So tell your friend, your friends, your enemies, your frenemies to come on live, because in about 5 minutes, I'm going to start taking live questions, and that's always even fun for me. It's always a great time, fun time, and it's awesome. All right, so without further ado, let's get straight into it. So there's a difference between adjustment of status to marriage and an adjustment of status to VAWA. Both of them are technically a form of adjustment of status. In other words, adjustment of status is the term that's given to, it's given to someone, who is here physically in the U.S., who came in either with a visa or without a visa, and is now trying to adjust their status, trying to change their status over onto a green card. So the best way to think about it is everyone you see on these streets, including your attorney Wafula. Well, I'm not your attorney, including Elizabeth Wafula, right? Everyone who ever got a green card here in the U.S. had to go through some form of adjustment of status. So every person who ever got a green card, right, while physically here in the U.S., or ever applied for green card while physically in the U.S., that process is called adjustment of status. So, and then from there on, there's many ways to adjust your statuses. So it's like a tree. So let's just say this is adjustment. This is the process of adjustment of status, and then there's now many branches, many ways to adjust your status. So one of the ways you can adjust your status is to adjust your status through a spouse. All right, so that's adjustment of status through marriage. Another way of adjusting your status is the opposite, okay, the exact opposite. And that is where you petition for yourself based on the problems in the marriage. So that is adjustment of status through VAWA, okay? And then you can also adjust your status through a separate way, a totally, completely different way, and that is through an employer. So you can adjust your status through an employer. You can adjust your status through an employer, and that's called adjustment of status through an employer, through employment. All right. So in other words, every single person who applied for a green card here in the U.S. had to pass through adjustment of status process, and they just did it through one way, one track or another. So one track to adjust your status again is through a spouse. That is based on in a situation where your spouse, uh, you and your spouse get along with each other. You and your spouse love each other. Your spouse wants to petition for you. That's adjustment of status through marriage. And for a long time, that's how many people got their green cards. All right. Then then VAWA came along, and but the VAWA has been around since the 90s, so it's not so new, all right? VAWA came along, and you can now, through VAWA, self petition for yourself, adjust your status through your own right based on the problems, the toxicity, the abuse in the marriage, okay? And then there's always been this third option has always been there, and that is adjustment of status through an employer. Your employer can petition for you. So fun fact, that's how we came. I came through my mother. My mother, it was her job petition for her. So we came here on H-1B. All right. So H-1B, you can an employer can petition for you. All right. And then you can get a green card through an employer. All right. And then finally, this is now the fourth way. This is the fourth. This is one of the other ways you can adjust your status, should we say. You can also adjust your status finally through your own petition based on your own skills. So that's the new case type that we just started taking this year, and that is extraordinary abilities. So extraordinary ability visa. So those are for people like Usain Bolt, Mercy Chinwe, famous runners, like Faith Kipyegon, people like that can easily, and I mean very easily, come to the United States based on their own merits, right? Of course, being as long as the application is filed properly, and as long as their lawyer can prove that this person is top 10% in their skill, in their field. Okay, these are runners, athletes, celebrities, actors. All right, soccer players, Messi, the and then who's the goat of the guy that just won the World Cup this year? Not Mbappe, but the other guy, the Argentinian guy, the GOAT, greatest of all time. I can't remember his name. Where he can easily come and get a green card based on his skill level, based on the fact that he's one of the greatest of all time soccer players. All right. Okay, the Ronaldos, all those people can easily, very easily come to the U.S. and file on their own basis. Messi, yes, can file on their own basis and get a green card through their own basis. All right. So I've just given you, first of all, the base level. First, you just need to know that, long story short, VAWA, adjustment of status to marriage, these are all forms. I mean, these are VAWA, adjustment of status to marriage. All of these are all forms of adjustment of status. And so we all just basically trying to get the same thing, right? Different ways, right? So adjustment of status to marriage is a type of adjustment of status. And VAWA, although most times you just hear VAWA, it's actually I-360 VAWA, adjustment of status of marriage. That's the legal term for it. But long story short, it's still another a way to adjust your status, because the end goal is it's going to get you a green card. And because you are adjusting your status from whatever visa you came with to a green card, and you're doing it while you're physically here in the U.S. Fun fact, so if you are trying to get a green card while you're outside the US, or you're filing for a parent or a child or a sibling or someone or a spouse, somebody who's outside the country, the same process will now be called consular processing, obviously, because now we're going to deal with two different consulates. All right, so I'm giving you the basis. So VAWA is a type of adjustment of status. So that means there's some particular forms that you always have to file for VAWA and for adjustment of status to marriage to get a green card. And that's for one main one is an I-45. You got to file a 45 to get a green card, and then the other forms will vary. So the other forms that you use for VAWA will be different for the ones you use for adjustment of status to marriage. All right. Now, secondly, the other thing I need to tell you is that VAWA typically used to take Oh, I was about to mess up and tell you how long how something I don't normally say in live. So I'm still not going to tell you how long VAWA takes. But all I can just say is that right now, the processing time for VAWA and adjustment of status to marriage is about the same. It's very much about the same. Okay. Adjustment of status to marriage and VAWA processing times right now, I want you to know, are just about the same. All right. So then, what's one advantage? Then what should you pick, or how are you gonna pick if you apply, if you technically qualify for both? So then it comes down to what you're looking for, and also it comes down to specific situation. So, for instance, some people, when we have a consultation, uh, I know for sure they don't call, how can I say? I know for sure that if their spouse petitions for them, that's probably going to be their best option, because they actually still get along with their spouse. They're in a great relationship with their spouse. Their spouse wants to petition for them. So if I have a conversation with you and I can tell you're in a great relationship, you have a spouse that loves and cares about you, you have a spouse that has your best interest at heart, then I think adjustment of status through marriage is just great. It's just as great of an option for you. But if we have a consultation and then I determine, well, you and your spouse are not getting along with each other. You've tried counseling, it's not working. You're past the point of counseling, nothing is really working. There's really no way of you guys to really reconcile that. Then usually what I'll tell you is, well, it's up to you. I can't make up your mind for you. But it just looks like the relationship is already at a bad place. So maybe you want to think about, you want to think about your options. I mean, is there something you can do? Is there a way you can reconcile? Because if your spouse is petitioning for you, your spouse is going to have to see the process all the way through. So you just want to think about, will my spouse be willing to see this whole process through? Are we in a good place enough to where my spouse is going to be willing to wait through the process before I can get a work permit, before I can get a green card? Are they going to be willing to wait through that process? I mean, are we in a good place? So that's, I usually, in other words, will tell you what you need to think about, and then you're still, it's still going to be up to you what you choose. So long story short, what I could just say is that if you and your spouse are in a good relationship, you're married to someone who you feel has your back, is going to want to see you doing well in life, then adjustment of status to marriage is still very much a great option. The other thing to consider is that adjustment of status to marriage, though, usually if you've been married less than 2 years, it takes you straight into your 2 year conditional green card. So adjustment of status to marriage, usually if you've been married less than 2 years, it's going to take you straight into a 2 year conditional green card, not a 10 year green card. All right. Whereas the opposite is true for VAWA. For VAWA, every single person who files for VAWA and is approved gets a 10 year green card. Okay. So all the green cards that I showed you on my live on Friday, you guys should have been there. I highlighted 3 different green cards live. I showed them to you. Of course I redacted the important information, but you could see these are real green cards for real clients. All those 3 that I had in my hand were all 10 year green cards, because we all got them through VAWA. So again, a major difference between VAWA and adjustment of status to marriage, because they are both adjustment of statuses, is that with VAWA you go straight into a 10 year green card, and that's just the law on that. Okay, so if you file for VAWA, if you file for a green card based on the problems in your marriage, you're going to go straight into a 10 year green card. Whereas if you file for a green card based on you being in a good relationship and you've been married less than 2 years, what you're going to get initially is a 2 year conditional green card. It's that way to fight marriage fraud. All right. So that after the end of those 2 years, after you've gotten your 2 year conditional green card for 2 years, at the end of those 2 years, then they're going to require you to do some sort of process now to get a 10 year green card. All right. So for some people, that's really a big deal breaker. Again, that's not my portion. That's not my place to speak on. I just tell you what it is. So if your spouse is petitioning for you, just know you're gonna go usually get a 2 year conditional green card, and you're gonna have to file another process to get a 10 year green card. That's not a problem if you're in a good relationship. That's really not a problem at all, honestly. If you're in a genuine, sincere relationship, it's not a problem at all. Okay. And then there's so many other things I can discuss, but since this is a live and I can't give y'all all my tips, I'm gonna start taking questions now. Okay, I'm gonna start taking questions. So I hope that helped. I hope that helps somebody. All right. And in other words, um, it just really depends on your specific situation whether VAWA is better for you or whether adjustment of status through marriage is better for you. All right. Hello. How can I help you? Hello. 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 Okay. I guess I had the issue there. All right. The other thing I think I was gonna say, what else was I gonna say about this whole adjusting of status through marriage and VAWA process? I think you want to remember why VAWA was created. And I always say this even in my consultations. VAWA was created for those people who genuinely married their spouse and then found themselves in issues, in problems, in hot stuff, in hot water. Okay. And so I always want to address that because somehow, because my name is Valquin, people tend to think sometimes that I propagate the wrong narrative for vow. Absolutely not. Vow was meant for those people who you genuinely entered the marriage for good reason. You loved your spouse, and then along the way it turned toxic, it turned abusive, and now you're in a situation where you still need a green card. Okay, vow was meant for those people. So in other words, you want to remember that VAWA is not a shortcut. So when we file for VAWA, it doesn't mean that we don't have to show this marriage is valid. Please get that out of your head and out of your mind if you're listening to me. Again, when we file for VAWA, if you're a VAWA client of mine, you know this. It doesn't mean we don't have to show that this marriage was valid. There is no such thing. It does not mean that we're shortchanging the system. It does not mean that we're not gonna still have to show that you married this person for valid reasons. There is still that requirement for vow. Okay. So first of all, when we file for vow, first thing we gotta prove is this marriage valid? We're gonna have to prove that through some joint documents, some affidavits, whatever you have. All right. And through, of course, the declaration that we write for you. So first, we're gonna have to prove, like, was this marriage really real? So it's not a shortcut in any way because first we gotta prove that before we even prove the abuse. For a good VAWA case, I mean, for if let me put it to you this way, a good VAWA lawyer will tell you first of all we gotta prove was this marriage valid, and then we have to prove also, that you experienced problems in this marriage and that your spouse was crazy as heck. That your spouse was crazy. Before we can, before we prove that, we have to prove that you entered this marriage for valid reasons. Okay. Hello. How can I help you? Hello. Hello, madam. This is strange. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
How can I help you?
I'm a 2-year permit after getting a VAWA. Can you use it, the travel permit? Can you use it to join the military, or is just for travel reasons?
Okay, so you had the 2-year conditional green card and you filed for a 10-year green card and then you got an extension notice, correct?
No, through VAWA. It's a 2-year permit through VAWA.
2-year permit. No, VAWA doesn't give you a 2-year permit. You mean a work permit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, it's a
the travel permit.
You yeah, travel
okay. So you filed for VAWA, got a travel permit. Now you're asking, can you travel on it?
Yeah, it's a travel document, but it's a 2-year travel document.
So I have so many lines and videos that I post. I think we just posted one last week or 2 weeks ago where I state that in general, if you don't have any criminal or fraud issues, and if you're not in deportation proceedings in general, you can travel. You always want to consult a lawyer, though, to look at your specific file and your specific facts to tell you for sure. Okay. So if you want me to give you a specific yes or no, you need to call me. But generally speaking, if you're not in deportation proceedings, you don't have any criminal fraud issues, you should be able to go. Again, granted, you get a go ahead from your lawyer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, madam. Bye. All right. Let's see. Okay, I'm taking live questions now, guys, about the immigration process. So now will be the time, and I tried to bring this one other person up, but it looks like I don't know if they left or there was issues with our network. I'm not sure. Um, Let me see if there's a question I want to answer that's quickly written down. So, guys, right now it's 12:27. At 12:30, I will be leaving. So at 12:30, I'll be leaving. If I have no more questions, if I have no more live questions at 12:30, I'll be leaving. Do I do divorces? No. And even if I did, I couldn't do it for you in your state. You need to find a lawyer in your state to help you. You need to find a lawyer in your state to help you do a divorce. I saw someone asking me about marriage fraud cases. Who decides case of a marriage fraud? So usually you usually go to an interview first of all with your spouse, and then they may determine that you have entered. I'm answering a question, a specific question to SPK to a run. So you go to an interview and then let's say God forbid it went bad, it went really bad, and maybe they determined that you entered the marriage for fraudulent reasons. So usually it's your interviewer that would have determined that, and um, maybe along with your supervisor. So then I guess this person asking, is it the same person who's going to look at your VAWA documents? So VAWA, the only way I could best way I can explain is that VAWA goes to a different division in immigration. So no, it shouldn't be the same interviewer. But let's say if you weren't filing for VAWA and you instead divorced the spouse that you had at first, and then you married a different spouse, and then had the second spouse petition for you, then I think you may end up with the same. Sometimes, depending on the office, the depending on the USCIS office, the local office that your case goes to, you may end up with the same interviewer because you filing under the same basis, and maybe because they would have looked and seen who interviewed you the last time, and they may want that same person to interview you again the second time. So long story short, spike to a run. I just think you need to call and schedule a consultation. You got me trying to explain something that's taking me more than two sentences to explain. So give me a call. But I don't think it will happen that way because VAWA goes to a separate department entirely anyway. But who knows? Why is my N400 application for citizenship taking so long? Been a year now. Citizenships have been taking a while for many years now. So Garrison Cuts. It may not necessarily mean anything is wrong with your case. Citizenship cases since Donald Trump days have been taking much longer than they used to. I'm taking these last two questions because it's 12:30, and then I'm gonna call it a day. Guys, what happened? Shoot. Guys, hello? Someone called me and it looks like hello? Hello, everybody. Hello? Shoot. Okay. Ooh, I'm not sure what happened to my video. Who's this calling me? Sorry, guys, on YouTube. Let me try to get back
They're friends, bro.
on my live.
Why?
on Instagram so I can take more questions. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. There's someone who keeps trying to call me on live, and it is really, really disturbing my live. And I guess that's how it kicked me out. So, guys, if you want to come on live, don't call me on IG. Literally, click add me, add request, okay? Don't call me on IG, y'all. That's not how it works. All right. So, all right, I'm glad y'all are back. Let me go live with this person. Let me continue taking my questions. I was gonna only do 2 more, and then I'm gone for the day. Man, I hate that I lost the other live. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Oh, sorry, I'm gonna call back, please.
All right, no problem. Somebody has to come live then. Did I say that out loud? Hello? Hello? It's like the part. Okay. If I'm not able to bring in this last person again, I'll just consider it a day. Because, okay. How are you doing, Madame?
How are you?
Good.
Good. I was actually calling because I have a friend that lives in another state. She's been going through a domestic experience, and she wanted to know if, okay, she already filed for her I-485 and went to the interview, and she's just waiting to hear back from them.
Okay.
A response, but the relationship has gotten so bad at this point, like she wants to relocate and come to a different state and leave her. If she left her information, like where it is, like her address and all of that, is it okay for her to leave this person and come to another state, or do they have to?
So she can. She definitely can. All right. I think before she does that, though, she needs to have a conversation with someone to ensure that she's gonna have a good VAWA case. All right. And just have a plan. I think is what I would do before I did all that. But yes,
Okay.
to answer your question, yes, you don't have to be living together with your spouse to qualify for VAWA. You could be separated. You could divorce. You could remain married. It's up to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, she currently has a consultation. She's already had a consultation with your group, actually.
Okay.
So she's just trying to get the monies together in order to
start.
To start the process.
Okay. So yeah, she's okay to move.
It's okay for her to move?
Yeah, she should be. If she's consulted with us, yes.
Yeah, she's consulted with y'all.
Yeah.
And so she was just wanting to see if that was something she could do.
It wouldn't hinder her case in any way.
It won't interfere with her case?
It wouldn't hinder her case in any way, no.
Okay, well, the I-485, like I said, that she went through the interview process already. And they're just waiting on a decision. Now, the state is Wisconsin, so, and they still haven't made a decision, and it's been over a year and a half.
Okay.
2 years.
So, ma'am, do you want to schedule or have her schedule another consultation? Because I think I would have answered all these questions for her in the consultation anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but definitely she needs a follow-up. I can answer all those things.
Okay,
yeah,
so
because I only answer one question. That's why.
Okay.
That's why. And I've answered your one question
Oh.
already.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Then I'll have a follow up. Is there a follow up fee for the consultation, or she can just
Depends on
call and
how long
ask?
she consulted. If she consulted us with it within a month ago, no. If it's more than a month ago, yes. She'd have to pay
If
for a new
it's
consultation. If she spoke to us more than a month ago, she'd have to schedule a new consultation.
right. Okay, but because it hasn't been, then
Then
she
she
can
wouldn't.
actually go
Yeah.
ahead and okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Right. This is a person I think I dropped off last time. I'm gonna take this one and then I'm going. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good. It's so good to speak with you.
You as well. How can I help you?
So, I was calling because I consulted you all in February,
Uh-huh.
and I I came in with a J1 visa, and I'm married 2 years now. And I told you about my predicament, and you asked me to get the no objection
Mm-hmm.
waiver from my embassy, which I have applied
Okay. Okay.
for months, and I haven't gotten any
Okay.
feedback from them. But the reason why I'm calling is I have a daughter in my country,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just asking if I were to get the no objection letter and about the process. Can I process as well with my daughter, or is there something I can do for
Yes.
my daughter right now?
Yes. Yes. Once you start the VAWA process, we'll usually be able to add your daughter as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I have to wait for it to get the waiver, and
Yeah,
we can.
because she's got to have a basis to come here. Yeah. So if yeah. Yes.
Okay,
Sorry.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, okay, I want to take this last question. What if you don't have proof of living together, no bills or bank account? And again, just so you know, if you follow me, I normally don't take written questions. But once in a while, if I see something that I want to answer, I will answer. Right? But normally, I prefer live questions. So this person says, "What if you don't have proof of living together, no bills or bank account? Can you still get approved?" Absolutely, it's absolutely possible. We've had cases like that. So the trick is just to find another way to prove that this this marriage is valid, because that's what that's what they're looking for when they ask you for proof of living together. They're just trying to find out in their own way, is this marriage valid? And so there are other ways to prove it. So if you don't have a joint bank account or joint bills, which happens if you have a spouse maybe that has bad credit, or and that also happens if you're new to the country, you may not have many things together. So then that's where family and friends come in. Can they write you some statements? uh, that's when marriage. I mean, did you guys do a real marriage? I mean, did you guys have any? Did you guys do an invitation? Did you send out invitations to people for your wedding? You know, did you have an invitation card? That's where those things come into play. Uh, okay, well, maybe you didn't have joint documents together, but you are living together in the same place. Did you ever have mail that came into the same address? Are you able to show literally a mail that shows, let's say this is a mail that shows your name. I mean, that shows you getting mail to the same address as your spouse, right? So there's other ways to prove that. So to answer your question, it's possible, but it just requires some creativity, and it requires you being the kind of person that could think back to, well, how else can I be able to show that me and my spouse live together. So to answer your question, it's possible. I would love to help you, Chris, whoever is asking this. It's a very difficult name. XRYSTVL. I'd love to help you. Give me a call. This is our phone number. Uh, all right, give me a call and we can talk. We can see if you qualify for VAR, and if you do, we'll figure out how to prove that you and your spouse did build a life together. All right. OK. Quelqu'un en écrit en français, en écrit l'anglais. OK, si vous avez utilisé les mêmes membres de parents entrant au nécessita. Hello, madame. Carmel, est-ce que tu peux me rappeler, s'il vous plaît, et faire un rendez-vous avec moi? OK. Carmel, est-ce que tu peux m'appeler? OK. Est-ce que tu peux me rappeler à ce numéro 901? OK. 306 7123. OK. M'appeler, s'il vous plaît, et faire un rendez-vous avec moi. Okay, so I said, so I'm speaking to Carmel. Give me a call. Hopefully she understood my French. I'm not the best French speaker. I used to be so good at French. I learned it in college. Anyway, take this one last question. What's the next thing to do after you get your biometrics in VAWA? That's a call station question. Call me. Hello?
Hello.
How can I help you?
Yeah. Okay. My name is Solomon. I'm here in California. Can you hear me?
Yes. How can I help you?
Yeah, it's kind of very complicated. I just came out from a very, very toxic relationship that I had to run for my life.
Okay.
Many men don't talk about this. Yeah, but the complication is she was.
Sorry? We lost your connection.
Sorry, I called Kenny.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so she was a petitioner for my two girls back in the country.
Okay.
They got approved. And I also got approved for my work authorization, got a social. We did life together.
Okay.
I mean, we've got evidence. We've done so much. We fight together.
Okay.
We've done business together. The only thing is just she would just snap. She's bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
When she snaps, she's ready to just tear everything down. And went through a series of she would just call police on me for nothing, for no cause, a lot of stuff. And long story short, I was bearing all this because I'm like, oh, for my children, if she just stopped the application for, even though they were approved, not finalized from back in the country. Yeah, so in April, she actually, I think she called police, and when they said, we're sorry, we can't take him, she went and she just filed for divorce. And what happened with my green card was the USCIS made a mistake. They didn't send out the notice for us to come for interview.
Okay.
So they sent a message that, oh, it was denied. And later they reopened like, oh, we didn't send it.
Okay.
But since then, it's been pending. Okay, when the divorce was filed in April, it just clocked 6 months. But we've not finalized it because I left the address. I thought she left when they sent notice for us to come for the judgment. None of us appeared. So I know I can take it further. So the attorney that helped me to reply to the divorce was like, because I've gone so far with my processing, should I wait for USCIS to just make their decision, or to make their decision, like, because everything was approved, they made a mistake of not sending the interview. But now that the divorce came in, shall I wait for them? I've got another person that went to the headquarters.
So have you already divorced, or she just filed for divorce?
She filed for divorce in April.
Okay, but it hasn't been finalized yet.
No.
So to answer your question, it's up to you. You could wait. The only thing I can say is that once that divorce is finalized, then you wouldn't have any choice. So if the divorce is finalized before they make a decision, then I guess that will be your answer. Then you would have to look into other options, because you can't get a green card when through adjustment of status to marriage when you guys are now actually divorced. So, but that only happens, that's only going to be the case once the divorce is finalized. So while it's pending, that's not a problem. But if it ever gets to a point where it's finalized before they make a decision, then that may be the time you want to give me a call or look into some other options. All right.
Okay, but what would you advise right now? Shall I just go finalize it, which I can?
You do notice we're on live, so even if I want to advise you, I can't give you my full advice.
Say that again.
You do notice we're on a live video right now, so even if I wanted to advise you, I can't give you my full advice right now. I think I'll need you to schedule a consultation. Let's talk.
I just got back from Vegas. I have not rested, so yeah. But I just said, let me call in.
I think it's a personal decision, though, to be honest with you.
Say that again?
It's a personal decision, to be honest with you. You could do either. You could go ahead and call me, or you could wait it out. It's up to you.
Thank you for your service.
Oh, no problem. All right. Guys, y'all do this to me every time. When I say I'm leaving, that's when you guys call. Hello? Hello? Someone asked me what's this program about. So right now, guys, I'm just taking live questions. But this program was about, I guess the other live cut off abruptly. But in the beginning of this live, I was discussing the difference between getting a green card through VAWA and getting a green card through your spouse. And I just went through step by step, side by side, what are the differences. So if you missed it, maybe you can jump on Facebook or YouTube, on my YouTube, and catch the whole live from today. So you can kind of hear what I said. But that's what this live was about. And then after that, that's just what we do. I always take live questions and answers at the end of every live. That's what I'm doing right now. All right. And so I think, but I'm done with that because it's 12:49 and I need to go eat lunch, guys. And I have a full day, of course, of work as well. So, guys, thank you so much for joining today. If you are someone who's married to your spouse, long story short, and you're in a great relationship, or it's an okay relationship, and you're married to someone genuinely, and you know this person has got your back, then I think adjustment of status to marriage is a great option. To summarize what I said earlier. But just remember, of course, that with adjustment of status to marriage, first you're going to go into a 2-year conditional green card. And then later on, at the end of that, you'll be able to get a 10-year green card. Then, as a summary, I also said, if you're married to someone genuinely, you genuinely married the person, but now it's become toxic and it's become crazy as heck. Your spouse is crazy, or like the person said, your spouse may be bipolar, or you find out something really big or extreme about your spouse you didn't know ahead of time. Maybe your spouse has given you an STD. Maybe your spouse openly cheats on you. Maybe your spouse cheats on you with multiple people. Maybe your spouse cheats on you with same sex, or you find out something that you didn't know about your spouse, or that's crazy, or you find yourself living a life that you basically didn't sign up for and it's really, really big. This sounds like you, then I think you need to give us a call. Let's talk about getting you a 10-year green card through VAWA. Okay. If you're in a good relationship with your spouse again, and your spouse has got your back and wants to petition for you, you should also give us a call in that instance, because we also do adjustment of status through marriage. All right. And last thing I want to say about VAWA, remember, VAWA applies to so many people that I didn't discuss earlier, okay? And that is, VAWA applies to you if you're married, you're separated, you're divorced from a U.S. citizen or a green card holder spouse. So for VAWA, it doesn't matter whether you're divorced or not. So for VAWA, if you're married, separated, or divorced from your U.S. citizen or green card holder spouse, right? All right. And even in some states, even if you're not legally married to the person, but you live like your man and wife, you have children together, you have business together, you live like you are together, in some states, then you will be able to get a 10-year green card through marriage, just as if you're legally married. Okay. So for For VAWA, it applies to you whether you're married, separated, divorced, and in some states, uh, when you're not even legally married to the person, but you live as man and wife, you live as a married couple, all right, and this person is abusive to you, you could qualify for a 10-year green card through VAWA, all right. So right there, I've already told you a main difference between VAWA, adjustment of status, and adjustment of status to marriage is that with VAWA, of course, you go straight into a 10-year green card. Ah, Laura Royale Queen is trying to trick me. You're trying to trick me into telling you how long it takes. I never discuss how long VAWA takes for my own reasons and also just for liability reasons. Never, never, never. Usually I don't ever discuss how long VAWA takes on a live video. But if you schedule a consultation, I'd love to give you that information, generally speaking, how long VAWA takes. Right? And that's the only thing I didn't discuss earlier either. I did tell you that right now VAWA is taking just about as long in most cities as adjustment of status to marriage. So processing time is about the same depending on your city. All right. All right. And on this topic, on this last note, I always want to say if you live in a city like New York, what else? Cali, some of these big, big cities that uh, immigrants always want to go to. One thing you want to remember is when it's time for you to file for your papers, when it's time for you to file for your green card, it could possibly take you longer. Why? Because there's just that many people that immigration needs to get to maybe before getting to your application. So something you want to think about. Sometimes the smaller cities like Memphis are sometimes the fastest places to get a green card. Right. Of course, you got to qualify first. So let me not make it seem like you just moved to Memphis. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying, I just want to throw this out there. You know, we all love big cities. People love to go to these big cities like Dallas, like uh, LA, like New York. But have you considered how long it's going to take for you to get a green card in those big cities? Make sure you consider that because it is something to consider, right? It is very much, there is very much a higher processing time, especially if you're getting a green card through your spouse in cities like Dallas, New York, LA, all these big cities where everybody and their mama is at, where all the Nigerians, all the Kenyans are there, where all the Indians are there, all the Pakistan people are there. Everybody, every immigrant you can think about is in Dallas, is in New York, is in LA. When you think about these places and you want to go there, just think about how long it's going to take before you're going to get your green card. I'm just saying, of course, with God, all things are possible. So the only way you're going to beat those big processing times in those cities is if you got God on your side, of course. But just think about that. Think about that. Sometimes it's an advantage of being in a smaller city when you're doing your green card process. That's just a bonus nugget I wanted to throw at y'all because I always like to give you something to that's nice that you're gonna think about and that you're gonna say, man, I got some value. I got something out of their life. One thing I want to say is just think about those things. The smaller cities sometimes have the best processing times. For instance, North Carolina, Raleigh has super fast processing times. Raleigh, Memphis, these Raleigh is technically not a small city, but it's not like overpopulated with immigrants yet, at least. It's really not overpopulated. So places like Raleigh, really good places to adjust your status through a spouse, especially. Okay. Memphis, really good places to adjust your status through a spouse, even for VAWA sometimes, to be honest with you. All right, I'm not saying move down here because of your green card. I'm just throwing it out there. I think Chicago normally does well. By the way, Chicago normally is not slow, but right now, we have this huge influx of immigrants. So I'm thinking that's gonna affect how long things start to take before you can get a green card in Chicago because right now there's this huge influx of immigrants there. Uh, but beforehand, I gotta say, Chicago was one big city that was doing really, really well. Like their processing times were not as slow. All right, as other big cities like New York, like Dallas, like LA. All right, guys, and of course, this is just a generalization. I believe in the Lord. Like if you're, and I believe in prayer. So if you're a person of prayer, disregard everything I said because you're on a different time clock. You're on God's time clock. You're gonna get a green card when God says you're gonna get it. Okay. All right. North Dakota, Indiana. I think Indiana is good. Indiana is good. North Dakota is good. I think some of my clients complain about places like Indiana. They say, that it's not friendly to the. eh, Well, I don't want to finish the sentence, but I think processing times it's good. Processing times wise, it does well. Atlanta is not so bad, but that's a big city. Atlanta can be up there in processing times, uh, but not as bad, to be honest with you. Like usually not as bad as Dallas or New York. All right. Okay, guys, you guys are catch me next time. Bye. I see all these questions. Let me see. Oh man, sorry. I see four people who want to ask me a question. Can you come tomorrow? Come tomorrow. I'm gonna try to come live around the same time. Okay. Join me tomorrow. So these 4 or 5 people, I think that are requesting to come live, ask a question. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to go, but try to catch me tomorrow. Okay. Catch me tomorrow. Bye, guys. As always, share this video. Don't be stingy. Don't be a stingy person. Share it with anyone who knows it could help. And specifically, share the video from YouTube or Facebook because today's live got cut up on IG. So if you'd like someone to hear the full talk about difference between VAWA and adjustment of status to marriage, ups and downs of each, share the full video. Okay, share the full link. And of course, our YouTube channel is just Val Queen. Type the Val Queen on YouTube, you'll find me. And you'll see the live from today. And you'll see it's been about an hour long. So that's the one you're going to share. And Facebook, the same. Facebook, just type Val Queen or Law Office of EM1 Full and you'll see it. I love that God called, not your call. That's definitely a word of the yes, yes, yes. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, guys. Love y'all. Bye. Bye.